So hello everybody, it's Sharma here because sun is really bright. I don't want to close my curtains, so that's why I just wear this my hat. Okay, so I'm done. Just ask ChatGPT summarize what I had my trip and then let me listen first and read it together with ChatGPT. Okay, so
Sure. Here's a more detailed version. I had a spontaneous and memorable weekend trip to Hong Kong. It all started when a colleague mentioned a music festival he was attending, and I decided to join him. We agreed to share a hotel room to save costs, and I planned to explore the city while he enjoyed the festival. Another colleague also joined me, as he wanted to go hiking in Hong Kong. We arranged to travel together after work on Friday, and everything seemed to fall into place perfectly.
the trip began.
The trip began with me helping my colleague by bringing his luggage to the hotel so he could head straight to the music festival. I didn't want to waste time checking in either, so I dropped his things off and waited for him at the hotel. That evening, I had noodles and milk tea for dinner, but the milk tea turned out to be a bad choice. It didn't taste bad, but it kept me up all night with crazy dreams. On top of that, my colleague's loud snoring made sleeping nearly impossible. I spent most of the night tossing and turning, but by 6 a.m., I decided to make the most of my morning and went for a swim at a pool I'd visited during a previous trip to Hong Kong. Swimming over a kilometer helped me feel calm and refreshed despite the sleepless night. After swimming, I started planning my day and decided to visit the Peak, one of Hong Kong's most iconic spots for panoramic views. At a bus stop, I met a kind elderly woman who guided me to Central, where I could continue my journey to the Peak. She suggested hiking up the mid-levels first, and I was struck by the charming streets filled with cozy restaurants, coffee shops, and a mix of locals and foreigners. I loved the atmosphere. It felt lively and welcoming. While hiking in the mid-levels, I met a foreigner who suggested I take a taxi to the Peak instead of walking, which would have taken an hour. His advice saved me time and energy, and I soon arrived at the Peak. The view was breathtaking, and I took plenty of photos to share with my friends and family. After spending some time there, I wasn't sure how to get back, so I followed two friendly hikers, an older woman and a middle-aged lady, who were kind enough to guide me down. The hike back was pleasant and led me to Hong Kong University, where I explored the campus briefly and saw photos of notable figures like Bill Clinton, who had once visited for a speech. By the time I returned to the hotel, my colleague had just finished his workout and was waiting for his two female friends who were running late, as they often do, he joked. Once everyone was ready, we went out for lunch at a local Hong Kong restaurant. I stayed quiet at first, feeling a bit unsure since they all knew each other and I only knew my colleague. However, when it came time to order, I surprised everyone by speaking Cantonese. They were amazed, as they thought I only spoke Mandarin, and we all had a good laugh about it. Lunch was delicious, and the group headed off to the music festival afterward, while I decided to rest back at the hotel. I slept through the afternoon and woke up around 9 p.m. Feeling hungry, I went out for dinner and then decided to explore Lan Kwai Fong, Hong Kong's famous nightlife district. The area was lively, with bars full of people from all over the world. However, since I was alone, it felt a bit boring. After spending some time there, I returned to the hotel and met a traveler from Trinidad and Tobago. He was in Hong Kong on a layover from a business trip in mainland China and was flying back to Toronto early the next morning. We had an interesting conversation about his life, investments like Bitcoin, and his drive to always be the best at what he does. He was truly a multi-talented and ambitious person. Sunday morning, I packed my things, had breakfast, and took the A11 bus to the port before heading home. The weekend left me feeling both exhausted and fulfilled. It was a mix of fun adventures, new connections, and memorable experiences. Let me know if this captures all the details you wanted or if there's anything more to include.
Okay, so now I better to read myself and then just go to okay. I had let me see, spontaneous. Is spontaneous?
Spontaneous.
I had a spontaneous and memorable a memorable weekend trip to Hong Kong. It all started when a colleague mentioned the music festival he was attending, and I decided to join him. We agreed to share hotel room and to save costs. And I plan to explore the city while he enjoyed the festival. Another colleague, he also joined me as he wanted to go hiking in Hong Kong. We arranged to hotel together after work on Friday, and everything seemed to fall into place perfectly. The trip began with me helping my colleague by bringing his luggage to the hotel so he could head straight to the music festival. I didn't want to waste the time checking in either, so I dropped his things off and waited for him at the hotel. That evening, I had noodles and milk tea for dinner, but the milk tea turned out to be the bad choice. It didn't taste bad, but up. It kept me up all night with crazy dreams. On top of that, my colleagues' loud snoring made me sleeping nearly impossible. I spent most of the night tossing and turning, but by 6 a.m. I decided to make the most of my morning and went for a swim at the pool I have visited during the previous trip to Hong Kong. Swimming over kilometers helped me feel calm and refreshed despite the sleep last night. After swimming, I started planning my day and decided to visit the peak, one of Hong Kong's most iconic spots for what's this? Uh, Pai Pan
Panoramic.
Panoramic. Okay, it's panoramic. Okay, panoramic views. At a bus stop, I met a kind elderly woman who guided me to Central, where I could continue my journey to the peak. She suggested hiking up the middle levels first, and I was struck by the charming streets filled with cozy restaurants, coffee shops, and mix of local and foreigners. I loved the I loved the
Atmosphere.
atmosphere. It felt lovely and welcoming. While hiking in the middle levels, I met a foreigner who suggested I take a taxi to the peak instead of walking, which could have taken an hour. His advice saved me time and energy, and I soon arrived at the peak. The view was breathtaking, and I took plenty of photos to share with my friends and family. After spending some time there, I wasn't sure how to get back, so I followed two friendly hikers, an older woman and a middle-aged lady who were kind enough to get me down. The hike back was pleasant and led me to Hong Kong University, where I explored the campus briefly and saw photos of notable figures like Bill, Bill Clinton, who had once, let me see how I pronounce his name.
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton, who had once visited for a speech. By the time I returned to the hotel, my colleague had just finished his workout and was waiting for his two female friends who were running late, as they often do, he joked. Once everyone was ready, we went out for lunch at a local Hong Kong restaurant. I stayed quiet at first, feeling a bit unsure since they all knew each other and I only knew my colleague. However, when it came time to order, I surprised everyone by speaking Cantonese. They were amazed as they thought I only spoke Mandarin, and we all had a laugh about it. Lunch was delicious, and the group headed off to the music festival afterwards. Afterwards, while I decided to rest back at the hotel, I slept through the afternoon and woke up around 9 p.m. feeling hungry. I went out for dinner and then decided to explore Lan Kwai Fang, Hong Kong's most famous nightlife district. The area was lively with bars full of people from all over the world. However, since I was alone, I felt a bit boring. After spending some time there, I returned to the hotel and met a traveler from, I don't know how to say that, it's country.
Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago. He was in Hong Kong. He was in Hong Kong on a layover. What's mean layover? Just layover. We just step on over for later. Wow. Okay. Okay. I was gonna lay over in Hong Kong. Okay. On Hong Kong, in Hong Kong on layover. I was on layover. I was on layover from business trip in mainland China and was flying back to Toronto earlier next morning. We had an interesting conversation about his life, investments like Bitcoin, and his drives to always to be the best at what he does. And what he does, it was truly a talented and ambitious person. Sunday morning, I packed my things and had breakfast and took the A11 bus to the port before heading home. The weekend left me feeling both exhausted and fulfilled. And it was a mix of fun, adventures, new connections, and memorable experiences. That's pretty cool. Okay, I gotta go to work. Oh, holy shit. I don't